The country is so rich, having 100 diversified handloom products, each having its unique identity. And today, most of them are at the crossroad because the handloom weavers and the powerloom weavers, they cannot be on the same page as far as the prices go, as far as the quality. And common buyers need to understand that. So Bhagalpur has been very popular for yarn such as Muga, Desi Tassar, and Noil, and Gicha. And for years, for as many, I mean, not years, decades, Bhagalpur has been having its unique identity for tussar weaving and tussar saris, tussar fabrics. Anyone trading or anyone doing business in silk would definitely work from Bhagalpur. This is the success story of my 4 years of hard work in Telangana, where not the state government, then state government, I must say that I have visited so many times their offices and said, please, UN project is over, trainings are all over. I have trained them to retail their own product. In quality, we have trained them. Now, please, every village you give some infrastructure, give them building. These are all small weavers. I would hate to say coolie weavers, but they are coolie weavers. Most of them don't have looms at home, so they have to go elsewhere. But I couldn't do much. And finally, only one district, that is Koilgudam village. So Yadadri district, Nalgonda Yadadri was a combined district then. And a very, very helpful and very, a thoughtful bureaucrat has helped us. The collector, district collector has helped us from the rural department, a small grant to this collective. This collective is a match society. They have been 170 members have been formulated as a mutually aided cooperative society. Particularly, I have chosen that model. I did not want them to become a cooperative society because that again will attract a lot of politics. I wanted each member to be self-governed and self-sufficient. So this is a small setup. Any of you traveling on Vijayawada highway at Koilgudam, when you pass Koilgudam village, there is a village organic food joint, and in the same campus, another collector, lady collector, has given this building. So one collector after another collector, two collectors, district collectors have helped these women. They are so fortunate because no other village could have this facility. So here it's a small facility, and they can make everything themselves. A few senior level officers from various governments have been in dialogue with us to find a way for a common retail buyer to identify handloom and powerloom. I've been receiving few calls and I took it up seriously. So we have carried out an experiment to insert colored weft in handloom fabric on the selvage at regular intervals so that common buyers can identify. But this may not work for saris and other products. In fabric, the selvage gets trimmed before getting converted into the garment. So on fabric, it works. On saris, I don't know how much it will work. But powerloom giants are behind us constantly, and they will find some way or the other to copy even this technique. Also, few techies, few technical labs have been also working on the projects where they imbibe a QR code into the thread. There are only experiment level as far as I know. And what we need is an evident visible sign on the product. Because even if you have a QR code and if you have a fiber, like a thin fiber which is infused with, IP of QR code, but then you need your phone to read it, or you need to, do something, some equipment. But my idea is that how many retail clients have that time, they just see the product, they like the color combinations, and it's apt for the occasion, apt for the price, and they would just buy it. But while buying it, they have been cheated saying that this is handloom. So there has to be some way to find out, for them, visually, they should be able to find out, and the efforts are on. Let's see how successful we can be. Okay, so as I said, I don't want to be very passionate about our Telangana Ikat, and I'm moving on to Bihar, which was my recent visit. As I told you, I was in Delhi, and from Delhi I went to Bhagalpur. I was supposed to do a collection of 150 products which are in tussar, and they can be also in tussar and linen. So Bhagalpur has been very popular for yarn such as Muga, Desi tussar, and Noil, and Gicha. And for years, for as many, I mean, not years, decades, Bhagalpur has been having its unique identity for tussar weaving and tussar saris, tussar fabrics. Anyone trading or anyone doing business in silk would definitely work from Bhagalpur. But Creative Bee has never sourced in its entire history yarn from Bhagalpur or anything from Bhagalpur, for the reason that 10 years ago only I identified that a lot of adulteration started happening, a lot of art silk or a lot of rayon started getting mixed at the reeling stage with the tussar. And so I have kept my yarn sourcing source at a most remote location as Jagdalpur, which is in Chhattisgarh, where there is a huge center, Kosa Society. And mostly I like to use the Ahimsa, by default Ahimsa cocoon, which is silk, short fiber silk like hand spun, Gicha, Muga, and Noil and all. So the point is that the region which was feeding the retail and export with variety of tussar is now infested with powerloom. The country is so rich, having 100 diversified handloom products, each having its unique identity. And today most of them are at the crossroad because the handloom weavers and the powerloom weavers, they cannot be on the same page as far as the prices go, as far as the quality. And common buyers need to understand that. I don't know what is the solution for that the common buyer can understand the difference and pay higher price for handloom. But then powerloom also is mocking the handloom product. Here, see, you will see that the conditions that are weaving, few clusters that I found, which was still making beautiful tussar saris and Muga saris with jerry borders, and also the youth, to my surprise, youth also involved in pre-loom processes. That means there is a lack of livelihood in that region. Not many industries, maybe not many options. So the youth also, I met so many young weavers in this particular cluster in Bihar. I was happy and I was talking to them. I spent 15 minutes talking to them, saying that beta continue karo jo kar rahe ho, aage kafi hope hai. But within my heart I'm saying, does it have hope? What is it that we're guiding them towards? So, and you see this picture, what must be his age? He's 80 plus and still weaving, and he's making the furnishing fabric which will be sold at Walmart or IKEA or any international store. So next slide will show the export product. Here, only one ray of hope, that I met Ibrahim Ji few kilometers away in a village, and he's running a large handloom cooperative sort of infrastructure for himself. Also, he's sourcing cocoon from different locations, and he has hand spinning, and he's providing employment to over 100 weavers and spinners. And he makes khewa saris, which are very beautiful. I got first few samples of stoles and saris to see how it will catch natural dye, because these 150 products that I have to source have to be processed in natural dye, and hand block printed. And so the colors came out very rich on these products. And here almost more than half a day we spent. These are the giant equipments that I saw. I was taken to one of the factories by the coordinator who was helping me. Also, Weaver Service Center, which is set up by central government. My normal protocol is wherever I go, I first take help of Weaver Service Center to identify what is good weaving region, where are the clusters, And so they had sent me to a couple of clusters. But then within the city, when I came to the powerloom area, and I'm shocked to see these giant machines making, everything is so polluted. The fiber is in the air, the noise is in the air, and they are making the same identical sari as being made on handloom. So the Kotpad saris, you will see some more products ahead, but Kotpad project is a full-length documentary being done by Marangoni Institute in Bombay and London. I lectured at Institute Marangoni about 2 years ago, and I said that students have to work with villages like this. And I had shown what Kotpad is and how laborious the Kotpad technique is. And 2 years later, I get a call from Marangoni, London and Bombay saying that we have grant to make a film and a coffee table book, and will you help us? So in collaboration with Creative Bee, past 8 months they have been working and filming and making a book. And last Saturday, the book and the film has been launched in Bombay. And you all can view the film. It's made very well. So I'm not going to talk much about the Kotpa textiles, but that is one of the most endangered textile in my list, which will go with my lifetime if they don't get any help or promotion. Actually, they need a lot of help with their homes, and that's a different matter, which I may speak about that at the end of it. I may want Mrs. Vani to do a small fundraiser for their homes, because Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana money they didn't get fully, and it's a human psychology, obviously, that you want to first repair your kitchen, you want to first make your bedroom within that one room. First you want to repair your home, and then for the loom you thought you will extend the roof when you get rest of the money. But the rest of the money is taking its own time, and so the looms in the village where there are hardly weavers left after COVID, hardly dyers left, many looms are just wound up and waiting for the money to come so that they can have their work shade extended in front of their home. I felt so desperate. I felt I can just go with few trucks load of cement and bricks and sheets and just let them build their own shades. How long one can wait? This thing is going now. The knowledge is going. So
what's the total amount, Beena, you are looking for that particular project?
15 lakhs is the total amount, which will cover about 22 families' homes. This is Assam. Like Kota, Assam and Meghalaya. Meghalaya was a real good discovery, a sense of satisfaction to see that there is no power loom has gone there. The villages are still so pure, so much beautiful work being done, and eri silk cultivation is scarce. The worm has been treated like a small baby, kept in mosquito nets, and the products which are made now are also very beautiful. But as a designer, I am supposed to make them international in terms of the feel and the textures, and I have to play with the different yarn that they have, like Muga, eri and Muga and Tussar. I can mix even cotton. They have Garo Hills in Meghalaya where they make beautiful cotton. So this was my just preliminary visit. So here I don't need to explain. I think everybody has seen a silkworm which will manifest into a butterfly. It is up to us if we allow the butterfly to bloom or not. And if the butterfly blooms, then that becomes ahimsa silk, short fiber, hand spun and made like the small spindle of yarn what you see there. And it is so beautiful, and the texture is beautiful. Also, it is a piece silk because it has all the vibes of a good life that has gone in, from caterpillar to a full life butterfly. I am an advocate of hand spun and hand processed, anything that is hand processed. So next slide will show the looms and the kind of weaving setup that this is partly Assam and partly Meghalaya. Because to go to Meghalaya, you have to fly to Guwahati. And in Guwahati, I must mention that there is a Assam Weavers Collective, and their work and the way they are putting in effort to provide work to so many Tussar weavers. I'm really delighted to see that. And in, of course, Umdan village, which is eri silk, declared as eri silk village by Meghalaya government. Also, there are women weavers, and I saw a number of women weavers harnessing the looms, and morning begins with this activity, which made me really feel very good. And also my objective was that I would like to see, I may get to see a Paina fiber, that is called Paina fiber or a Pina fiber, because pineapple is growing immensely. And in Thailand, we have worked in Thailand and Malaysia and Southeast Asia so much. And in 18th century, pineapple fiber was extracted in Philippines and made into a very gossamer, very stylish garments in 18th century. And now the pineapple extraction machines are made in India and exported to Southeast Asian countries. But in our own country, we still don't use much of pina and banana fiber in yarn. But I think as a designer, I feel that silk can be mixed with pina fiber and it can be really beautiful. So anyway, these are my future thoughts. I also went to Cherrapunji. Of course, after working for 3 to 4 days, I thought one day I must take as a holiday and see Cherrapunji. But to my surprise, the cab driver knew what kind of activities we are inclined, and he took us to Sri Ramakrishna Mission Weaving Studio, which is adjoining to the ashram. and I felt as if I have come to my NID's weaving studio because the way they have warp making and they have winding machine for bobbins and the looms. And guess what they make? They make gamchas. Gamchas are the most inexpensive textile product, which is so beautiful. They are like narrow towels which are used by the pilgrims who will visit the ashram. So mostly they make those gamchas. And on some looms they do make saris, and in some looms they make wider white towels. The looms are so beautiful. I felt as if I was not working, if I didn't have so much of responsibility, I would just settle down there for 6 months and create beautiful products there. So Amiji took us around the whole thing and said, years ago this was set up, and since then whatever we produce, we sell here. And it's only for our own requirement. Some tourists will come and buy the sarees though. Yeah, by mistake the Kotpad slide has appeared here, but never mind. You all will see that movie, the film which is made. But what I'm trying to show in Kotpad is the fabric that you see on the left corner is the collection made by the London Marangoni students. And on the book launch day, they had made very contemporary looking garments out of those stripes and checks, and also some fabrics that we made Kotpad weaver weave for as per their design. And indigo. Why indigo at Kotpad? Somebody who's familiar with Kotpad would say, why indigo? How? About 10 years ago, when Keshav and me, we invited this group, a weavers group, to learn other dyes, because we saw that all trees are depleting and deforestation is so much that now 15 kilometers away the jungle has gone from Kotpad, and there are not many trees, and there's a lot of story. My 25 years of my connection with this village cannot be completed in 5 minutes, so I leave that for other time. But now the fact is that all dye is scarce, and you will see the film, you will see how intense and laborious the process of cow dung process for 15 days and achieving this red color. However, village is moving towards chemical dye. Whoever are the skilled weavers who are doing the extra weft technique are now going after chemical dye. And as Telangana has accepted Powerloom Ikat, same way Orissa Emporium is buying the chemical dyed Kotpad sarees. So matter is finished there. We are not asking any questions. Nobody is asking any questions. Kotpad sarees, because weaving is one technique and dyeing is another technique. Both are heirloom, both are endangered. They existed from Mohenjo-daro time, and now at the mercy of people who decide what has to be accepted and what has not to be accepted. And so we taught them few more colors 10 years ago. That is indigo and jackfruit yellow. So the weavers came to Creativity Dye Farm. The jungle have a lot of jackfruit trees, and the furniture makers, the smugglers, should I say them, call them, who smuggle the wood of jackfruit trees. They used to. Now I think rules are strict, but so there is a lot of sawdust that in the region you can find, and that sawdust, my husband Keshav, his R&D says that gives brilliant yellow color. And so we have been dyeing yellow we have been extracting yellow from sawdust of jackfruit tree. So we taught them jackfruit, then we taught them tea brown, because tea, the inferior quality tea or discarded tree or used tea powder will give a beautiful beige color, and that will look very nice with. So you can see in the broad stripe, that is what used for the warp, and weft of course is raw tussar. So tea brown and yellow from jackfruit and indigo, and these are adding more colors to, and the stole what you see behind me, the Ganga Jamuna border, you know. So like as you see, we are trying our best to promote, preserve, document this particular village, and there are 10 more villages like this. And there are so many textiles which we want to write about and document, and want to at least preserve them for the history and for the generations to come.